Hi everyone, Rachel here. Welcome to another episode of the Ditch the Diet podcast. Welcome to another episode of the Ditch the Diet podcast. Today I am going to be talking about something that most of you will have experienced at some point in your life, and that is not feeling able to stick to something for long enough to see long-term results. In other words, self-sabotage behaviour. I think this is a good time of the month to talk about this now that we are in mid to late January. I can't actually believe I'm saying that. This year is off to a flying start. I hope you've had a good January so far. I know it's not exactly the most fun time of the year, is it? Sometimes it can feel a little bit overwhelming, what with Christmas and New Year being over and done with, the cold winter weather that we have here in the UK, if you're in the UK. And the dark mornings and dark nights is a bit of a recipe for misery at this time of year, let's be honest, although I tend to think of myself as more of a glass half full type person. So in today's episode, what I'm going to be talking to you about is self-sabotage behaviour and why you can't seem to stick to things long term or long enough to actually see long-term results. This is a recording from a Facebook Live that I did last week. If you haven't caught that yet, I'll put a link to it in the show notes if you actually want to. If you'd rather watch the video, then you can go ahead and do that. But I have some actionable tips towards the end of this episode that you will be able to put into practice if you do recognise any of these self-sabotaging behaviours. So I hope you enjoy that. I'll be back at the end to give you a little bit more information about how you can join the Ditch the Diet Academy, because we are now open for new memberships and it's a great time of the year to perhaps think about making a long-term change that will benefit your health and your body and your mind all as one, especially if you have jumped on a diet or a slimming club at the beginning of this year and you're thinking that there is absolutely no way that you'll be able to sustain this long-term. Then check out the Ditch the Diet Academy, because that is specifically for you. Okay, I'm not going to ramble anymore. I'm going to get straight in about it. Enjoy this episode and I'll see you towards the end. Today I'm going to be talking to you about something that is probably one of the most important things that is going to affect your journey, whether that journey is to a healthier lifestyle. Perhaps you have started this January and your number one goal is to lose weight. Perhaps you are looking to change your job this year. Maybe your goal is to move house, change location. Maybe you have financial goals this year. Perhaps you have some big life events going on. There's loads and loads and loads of different goals that we have that I've heard from friends and family and people that have joined the Ditch the Diet Academy. But for the purpose of what we are talking about today, I am going to be talking about it in the sense of losing weight and changing the way that you eat. Because obviously that is what we focus on here at Ditch the Diet, and that is that is why most of our members join. We're going to talk about self-sabotage today. Self-sabotage was a regular feature in my life. It still is, not quite so regular anymore. But it's something that I know that most people struggle with when it comes to sticking to something. And I see it come up a lot in my membership community, not only in the Ditch the Diet Academy, but often a lot in Facebook groups and things that I manage as well when it comes to diet and exercise. Self-sabotage. Give me a hey, or just type a comment yes, or put a little emoji face, or just hit the like button or the love button if you have ever felt that you cannot stick to something for long enough to see results. I've done it. I have certainly been there. I am not perfect. I am certainly a real life human being, and I have been there many, many times. So when it comes to
losing weight, changing the way you look at your body, changing the way that your actual physical body composition is made up. Perhaps you're trying to change your diet. The first thing that many people focus on is what they're eating or how they're exercising. And this is one of the biggest problems with the slimming industry and the fitness industry and the weight loss industry, the way that it is now in the world, but in particular in the United Kingdom, because we have a lot more slimming clubs and things here in the UK, is that we're focusing solely on the food and the activity and the exercise. There is something that is missing from this equation that is absolutely huge. The thing that is missing is being able to pay attention to, understand, and process our thoughts and feelings. We're not very good at that. The world that we live in nowadays doesn't make it easy for us to express our thoughts, feelings, and as reluctant as I am to use the word mindset, it always comes back to what's going on in here. If you don't address what is going on upstairs and here, what you eat and how you exercise isn't going to really be enough. We've got to address what is going on up here. Now, being able to be more aware of your thoughts and feelings is probably the most difficult part of a story of change or a journey of change. The reason for that is that your thoughts and feelings, the way that you think, the thoughts that go through your head, the way that you feel, is not only sometimes difficult to express, but it's also hard to touch and hard to make real. Because they're not it's not a tangible thing. So food is a tangible thing, exercise is a tangible thing. You can plan it, you can see it, you can do it. But what is going on in your mind, and your thoughts and your feelings and the way that you process these is not something that you can actually touch. It's not tangible, you can't see it, and often you feel like you can't control it. So addressing this as a first priority is often something that people miss out when it comes to losing weight, going on a journey to change the way you think and feel about food, addressing emotional eating, addressing binge eating behaviours, unlearning a diet mentality that's maybe been drummed into you for the past however long. Addressing this is so vitally important, and it's why it plays a huge part in the very beginning of the way that we teach here at the Ditch the Diet Academy. So the ability to recognise negative self-talk and negative behaviours and have compassion for yourself with no self-judging is something that isn't going to happen overnight. But we have to start thinking about the way that we talk to ourselves and the way that we think our thoughts and the thoughts that are going through our minds. Because if we address that and we become mentally stronger, then addressing the sort of 4 or 5 main reasons why we self-sabotage and actually learning how to change those is going to be so much easier. So we are going to get into that. I'm going to get into 4 or 5, maybe 6 at the most, reasons why you possibly continue to self-sabotage day after day, year after year, and you are still struggling with this whole weight loss thing. I'm going to get to that in a second, but I need to sort of tell you about this bit first before we get there. So negative self-talk when it comes down to self-sabotage. What do I mean by that? Does anyone recognise the following statements? Why does this keep happening to me? What's wrong with me? Why can't I stick to this? What is it about me? What is the problem? Why does this always happen to me? Why do I keep doing this? Well, I know what I should be doing, but I can't seem to stick to anything. do these thoughts go round and round and round in your head? I know the answer to that. Because that used to be me. And it kind of comes down to a few things, and there is a way to change this. I'm just moving my camera slightly backwards because I'm feeling a little bit close for comfort here today. Self-sabotage, self-punishment, and not having self-compassion for yourself is really, really common, and it's much, much more socially acceptable to punish yourself than it is to nourish yourself. We're going to talk about that in a second. But one of the main things that I hear a lot of my clients saying, and a lot of members, and just in general, you've probably heard this. I know what I should be doing, but I can't seem to stick to it. Have you thought this or said this before? Now, the problem is that we have to start thinking about the things that we're doing and whether or not you are living a should-be life. Are you living a should-be life? Do you feel that you should be doing something? Does someone else... are you doing something because someone else thinks that you should be doing it? Are you doing something because society and the environment that we live in is producing this feeling that we should live our lives a certain way? Are you doing it for fear of what other people think? Is it that sabotaging your own self is one of the only things that you can control? So that thing that you can control, you have the ability to sabotage, and it could be that. Are you really choosing this? You have to listen to this. Write this bit down. The things that you are trying to achieve right now, are you choosing them? Are you choosing to do them? Or are you trying to achieve them? Or are you continuing to do these things for the benefit of someone else? Now, I'm not saying that you don't have to do some things. We all have things that we just have to do. But there is a difference between wanting to do something and having to do something. There is a difference between feeling like we should be doing something and a feeling of wanting to do something. Now, I don't live in a cuckoo land in my head. Not all the time, only sometimes. I understand that there are things that we have to do. We have to do the washing. We have to do the ironing. No, we don't actually. We don't. I don't. I send it out. But we have to do things. We have to look after our children. We have to, cook dinner. We have to do certain things. We have to keep on top of work. There's all of these things. I'm not saying that tomorrow you wake up and you go, fuck this shit. Yeah, I'm not saying that. We have things that we have to do. But when it comes to diet, exercise, and the way we think, we have to really think about, am I doing this because I feel like I have to do it, or I feel like I should do it? And you can apply this to any aspect of your life, by the way. This does not have to apply to weight loss. It can apply to anything. You deserve to be happy. And this is probably one of the biggest things that causes people to self-sabotage in life. It's the feeling of we don't deserve to be happy. Perhaps you think that you don't deserve to be happy, that this is it. Is this it? Have you had that feeling before? Like, is this it? Do I have to be happy? Like, does this have to make me happy? Do I just have to settle for this? And this, when it comes to bodies and things, I've seen a lot of that happening with people as well. Like, maybe this is just the way that I'm supposed to be. Maybe this is the way that my life is supposed to be. And maybe I don't deserve to be happy anyway. Has anyone ever felt like that before? I certainly have. Low self-esteem, low self-worth. It's at times in my life we all feel like an imposter sometimes. We all feel like, have you ever had that feeling when you try to when you start changing your lifestyle, you start changing the way you eat, the way you exercise, the words and phrases and things that you speak about, that other people notice that you're changing and they might not like it, because generally people just don't like change. And then you start to feel like a bit of a fraud. Maybe this is not me. Maybe I can't do this. And you start to feel like it's just another thing that you're going to fail at. You're fearful of failure. So why even bother in the first place? And these are all things that contribute to self-sabotage. The need for control is really, really strong. When you are doing anything in life, we like to be in control. That feeling of being out of control is not one that us as human beings really enjoy. And that feeling of needing to take control and take action can sometimes even be in the form of self-sabotage. So the self-sabotage and the forms of self-sabotage that there are lots and lots of them, but taking control of, even if you're taking control by self-sabotaging, it's still a way of taking control. So sometimes that is the reason why we self-sabotage. It's also more of a familiar pattern. So I think when people join the academy, they are expecting to see results overnight, but don't really truly understand the impact of these familiar patterns and sort of fear of the unknown. If you've been on a diet for your entire adult life, perhaps you've been on a diet for weeks, months, years, these familiar patterns of failure become what you are most used to. Familiar patterns of failure. So starting a diet, sticking to it for a few weeks, self-sabotage, feelings of failure, and then off the rails for a little while, and then something happens, we draw the line, we start again. And that familiar pattern of start, fuck up, fail, fall off the wagon, start, fuck up, fail, fall off the wagon, start, fuck up, fail, fall off the wagon. If a wagon even existed, by the way, which it doesn't. It becomes such a familiar pattern that the fear of actually not achieving that optimal way of behaving where there is no self-sabotage is so important. We have to understand that this kind of behaviour change does not happen overnight. We are living in a world right now where we want everything to happen right now. We live in a world where if you want to order something from Amazon, boom. If I order something from Amazon now, it'd be here tonight. Luckily, I live in the middle of a city. I know it's not like that out in the sticks. But I can have whatever I want right now. Not everything, but material things, for example. If I wanted to order a book, it would be here tonight. If I want to book an appointment at a local restaurant, I open an app. Boom, done, booked an appointment. If I want to message a friend, open WhatsApp. Boom, done. If I want to quickly show my mum a picture of something, boom, Snapchat, sent. If I want to talk to someone, boom, Facebook, talk in a group. Like, we have everything at the tip of our at the end of our fingers, and we can just have everything now. And I cannot emphasize this enough, but we have to exercise and strengthen our ability to exercise long-term gratification, because short-term gratification does not lead to long-term change. Unless you're talking about maybe ordering a book off Amazon and getting it at the night, maybe that would help. But then you have to read the book, and not only do you have to read the book, you have to exercise the points in the book. You have to learn, you have to take it in, you have to actually take the action. And that is the part that people find really difficult. And it's because you want it right now. You don't want to wait. And I can tell you right now, if you continue in this manner of not wanting to wait, wanting everything to land on your doorstep right now, doing something for 1 day or 2 days or even a month and expecting your whole life to change, you're going to be waiting a very, 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 very long time. And that is one of the main reasons, just before I go into my sort of 5 or 6 main reasons why, 5 or 6 main reasons how you can stop this self-sabotage, which I'm going to get into in a second. But this is one of the main reasons why when you join the Ditch the Diet Academy as a member, I'm not going to dictate to you calories and macros and points or get you to weigh out all your foods, because that is not addressing. It comes back to addressing the thoughts and feelings that are going through your head. This is so, so, so important. At some stage, when you are counting calories, weighing your food, obsessively looking at macros, and all that kind of thing, this is just an added bonus part to this broadcast. I wasn't even going to cover this. At some point, you're going to stop doing that. You're going to self-sabotage because you don't have the tools to change the way that you think and feel about food. And that's what we do as an active priority in the academy. But yet, there are still a lot of people who are looking for the quick fix. So let's get into ways that you can stop this negative pattern of self-sabotage. And the first one is your purpose for doing the thing, whatever the thing is your purpose for doing that clear enough? And part 1B, where does that purpose come from? I'm going to explain this right now. So the purpose for you, let's talk about losing weight. Hands up if you want to lose weight. Okay, so your purpose for doing that. Where does this purpose come from? What is the purpose? What is the purpose for you wanting to lose weight? What is the reason? Why is it that you believe that when you look down in the morning on the bathroom scales, when you're standing in the scud, it's a Scottish word I think for naked, and you are judging your whole entire happiness of your life on whether or not you have achieved a loss or a gain on the scales? What is the purpose of that? Why is it so important? Why do you want to lose weight? Why do you want to change the way your body looks? What is the reason? Truly, what is the reason? And does this reason come from a place of fear? Or does this come from a place of care or love or attention for yourself? Does this come from a place of nourishment, or does this purpose come from a place of punishment? So let me give you an example. Many people say that they want to lose weight because they feel disgusting, because they don't want to look horrible on a night out with friends and in photographs, that they couldn't possibly go on holiday right now because of the way they look, because they look disgusting or horrible or fat or ugly. These are all words that I hear people use all the time, by the way. Or is your purpose for losing weight to improve your health, improve your energy levels so that you can have more energy to do day-to-day life, to look after your children, because let's face it, that takes a lot of energy, to function well at your job, to feel more positive and happy. Do you see where I'm coming from here? So we have this purpose of punishment, this you must do this because you look crap. You're going to look terrible on the beach when you go to Tenerife in July. Everybody thinks you're fat, you look terrible. It's a punishment. You look awful. You must change. You must change because everyone else thinks that you should change. Or does this purpose come from a place of love or care or nourishment? I want to feel better for me. Selfish. Yes. We like that. Is it nourishing my body? Is it nourishing my mind? Am I doing this to become a better version of me? What is the motivator behind your goal, because you don't have to lose weight to be happy. There is absolutely no correlation between the number that you see on your bathroom scales in the morning and your happiness. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to change the way that your body looks. Perhaps you want to feel like you can put your clothes on and feel good. Maybe you want to go shopping and enjoy the experience. These are all nourishing ways of thinking. Do you want to improve the way you look and feel in your clothes because it would make you more confident? Yeah, but these are all things that are not exclusive. They don't correlate to happiness. And you have to make sure that your goals and the purpose behind your goals are coming from a place of nourishment and not a place of punishment. Because if you continue to punish yourself and do things because you feel like you deserve to be punished, like exercise, like restricting food, self-sabotage is a byproduct of that. We have to look deeper. We have to understand that our goals need to come from a place of nourishment. Not I need to toe the line here. I need to lose weight. I need to stop eating all this crap because it's ridiculous. I'm awful. I've done all this, especially now in January. I'm hearing it all the time. I'm hearing it in cafes. I'm hearing it in the queue in the supermarket. I'm hearing it out and about. I'm hearing friends say it. I'm seeing it written down, and it frustrates me so much, because I look at people and I can hear them saying, "Oh, I really need to stop eating this," or "I really need to toe the line," or "I really need to get a grip," and I look at them and I think you look amazing, or I think you're an amazing person, like I think you're incredible. You don't have to punish yourself to feel better. Isn't it weird how we would say all these things to ourselves, but we would never, ever, ever consider saying it to someone else? Imagine if you were to turn around and say to your best friend, "You look shit, you need to stop eating that. You need to stop eating so much crap and go on a diet, get to the gym." Can you imagine what that would feel like for your friend to hear that from you? I'm not quite sure how I would react. Depends what day of the month it is. We need to pay more attention to what's going on up here. We need to pay more attention to what we're saying to ourselves and other people. We need to really start to bring an awareness and mindfulness around everything that we are doing, everything that we are saying, everything that we're eating. And we talk about awareness and mindfulness and paying attention to what we're eating, and the awareness without judgment. That's important. We talk about this in the Ditch the Diet Academy as well. Without judgment is a really important part of this journey. Talking yourself out of doing something because you are judging the way that you are acting. I hope I'm making sense here. I know this is going a bit deeper than I actually planned to do this broadcast. We have to really think about paying attention to absolutely everything that we do, becoming more aware and more mindful of the food that we're eating, becoming more aware and mindful of the way that our body feels, our hunger and fullness signals. We need to become more aware of what types of foods make us feel good, what type of foods make us feel bad, how much food do we need to eat to feel satisfied, how much food do we need to eat to feel full. And these are all things that you can learn slowly, surely, bit by bit, but you have to be willing to do the work, because that is the missing ingredient for most people. We have, I say we, it's me, an incredibly vast amount of education in the Ditch the Diet Academy. We have 6 months worth of education. Everything from all of the things that I've spoken about today to nutrition, how to write a meal plan, how to navigate a supermarket, what to look out for, how to exercise, how to set goals, goal setting purposes, how to nourish yourself. We have recipes, we have everything, we have videos, we have live broadcasts, we have guest coaches, we have so much education. But at the end of the day, it comes down to this active process of saying, I'm going to do the work. Because it doesn't matter how good a meal plan you have, or how many recipe books you have, or how many lessons that you listen to of me talking, and there are hundreds of hours worth. If you don't do the work and take the action and make this an active process, you'll never get there. If you're waiting for someone else to do the work for you here, you're going to be waiting your whole life. You have to take responsibility for your own action or inaction, and you have to be ready for the consequences of that, because there are many, many, many consequences of taking responsibility and taking action to change the way that you live. And you have to be ready for that, because there are lots of consequences, and most of them are good. We have to learn how to start talking about ourselves to ourselves. We have to address negative self-talk. We have to have the ability to recognise when we are beating ourselves up. We have to have compassion for ourselves without judging. We have to understand that this fixed mindset of, I've done this all my life and this is all I've got and this is all I can do, so this is what I'm going to continue to do, isn't going to get you anywhere. We have to think about, is your purpose clear? Where does it come from? Are you setting goals based on punishing yourself, or are you setting goals based on nourishing yourself and actually changing your life? Actually changing your life. What is the motivator behind these? Why do you want to achieve it? Really, really, this is deep work for some people, and we do go into this in the academy. Why do you want to do something? What are your goals, and why do you want to achieve them? That is so important. Becoming more aware and mindful of paying attention to what we're doing, how we're speaking to other people, how we're speaking to ourselves, and doing this without judgment. Don't judge yourself for the thoughts and feelings that you have. And being prepared to take responsibility in this active process of learning and changing the way that you eat, changing the way that you view food, changing your emotional connection with food, changing your relationship to food and exercise, and looking at it from a more nourishing point of view. I want to do this because I want to feel better. I want to, I'm worth it. I'm worth it. And I love myself enough to do something about it. The rest of my life can feel way, way more positive than the current situation. So I'm asking you today, everyone who is watching, if you're watching on the replay as well, that you will do one thing for me, and that is to stop punishing yourself for the food that you've eaten or the lack of activity that you've got in your life right now. And if you want to make a change that comes from a way of, I want to change my life because I want to feel better. I want to eat good food because I want to feel good. Not because I hate myself, but because I actually care about this vessel that carries around our thoughts and feelings. I want to look after it because it's the only one that I've got, and it's the only one I'm going to get. So I hope that's been helpful to you today. I'm going to shut up now. But I really do hope that has helped you. And if you have found this video helpful, then it would really help me. You could do just one thing for me in return, and that is to just hit the share button somewhere down here, depending on where you're watching the video. Leave a comment and let me know what you thought. But I would really appreciate if you could share the video for me. And yeah, the academy, the Ditch the Diet Academy, has reopened today. For the first time since early December. We're taking new members in now. So if you want to learn how to ditch the diet, ditch the horrible food restriction, the punishment of yourself, and to learn more about how to actually change your life permanently, and you're prepared to take your time and do the work, then please join the Academy today. We have no joining fee this week. And it costs less to join us than it does to join the likes of Slimming World, and you don't get anywhere near as good the shit. And you'll be stuck with me for a few months. I will teach you everything that I know, So thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed this, I would absolutely love to hear your feedback, and it would really mean a lot to me if you would share this video. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you very soon.
So there we have it, another lovely episode of the Ditch the Diet podcast. I have to be honest with you, I thought I was going to be a wee bit late with this episode this week, but here we are, on time. Always sliding in a little bit late, that's me. The Ditch the Diet Academy is open for new members. I'll put the link in the show notes so that you can go and check it out. If you would like an alternative to slimming clubs that will actually see you making long-term progress forever and ever, I will teach you exact steps on how the exact steps to take in order to quit yo-yo dieting forever. I will be back next week with another episode of the Ditch the Diet podcast. I have some really exciting guests lined up for the next few weeks, so make sure you subscribe on whichever channel you're listening to. Please hit the subscribe button, and if you've enjoyed today's episode, then please leave a little review. It would mean a lot to me. It would only take you less than a minute. And of course, last but not least, please share this episode and podcast with anyone that you think will enjoy it. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next Thursday for another episode of the Ditch the Diet podcast.